comes up.
And it should be coming up, I'm hoping. All right, looks like we've been live for 3 seconds.
Woohoo!
All right, I'm gonna mark this as, let's see here. Is there any way I can put this towards the top of the screen? All right, so if you go to the Interior Secrets group and scroll down the page a little bit, then you should see our live feed on Facebook. And I am going to make sure, I'm gonna make sure I mute my audio from the Facebook group so that we don't hear a mad echo going on here.
I'm not in the right place, I don't think.
Okay. Let me make sure that I send it to you, and I'm gonna send it to you via Facebook Messenger.
Oh, there we go. Go, I see myself. Okay.
Yeah, so the way this works.
All right, let me mute it. Hang on.
The way this works, Annilee, is whenever I talk, my video will show up, and then whenever you talk, your video will show up. So if you disappear for a second, it's not a technical issue. It's just the way that the software works.
Okay.
All right, guys, so welcome to everybody who's joining. This is episode 2 of Rock Your Room, which is being broadcast live, which you've probably figured that out by now, given the fact that I've already talked to my co-host and made sure that technically we're firing on all cylinders. We're broadcasting this live to the Stuccco Interior Secrets Facebook group. I'm gonna let some of you guys who just got a notification that we recently went live join us, give you some time to join us. If you wouldn't mind leaving us a comment in the Facebook live feed to let us know that you can hear and see us, so that we're not just on mute or our feeds aren't getting disconnected for the next hour or so. Hey, Ross. Great. So Ross and Elisa are here. Brenda Wilkinson has joined. Fantastic. Brenda, so happy to have you. For those of you who are watching, Brenda has been the homeowner. She's the member of Interior Secrets that was selected for being featured this week. On our episode, we'll be going over her room, and Annilee will be providing her expert design advice on how to improve her living space. So looking forward to that. Awesome, Ross. So it sounds like they can hear us and see us, for better or for worse.
Hello, everyone.
Fantastic. Just gonna let a few more folks come in. They might be clicking on links, logging into Facebook, and joining us here. Had a great reception to our first episode last week. Well, in all honesty, it was maybe episode 1.5. We had failure to launch on our very first episode a couple weeks ago. So last week was our official first episode, and that one went very smoothly, I thought. We had Karen Minches of Modern Lotus Interiors join us. She did a terrific job. She went over the traditional entryway that belonged to Interior Secrets member Chapman Montgomery and his wife Katie Montgomery here in Louisville, Kentucky. Went over a few different concept boards, and the reception to her concepts was overwhelmingly positive. And just thank everybody who was able to make that last week for attending and being engaged. And if you're interested in watching that again, if you weren't able to attend last week, it's no problem. It's actually on YouTube, and I'll make sure to drop a link to that episode here in the comments in a couple minutes if you want to watch that after this episode, right? Just continue your primetime television for this Wednesday evening. No commercial interruptions, mind you. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for those who have been able to make it thus far. I recently made this group public so that if there are some friends or family members who you think would enjoy tuning in and watching for the next hour or so, please, please, please invite them by tagging them in the comments or sharing this feed on your personal Facebook profile. The more the merrier here. The more engaged everybody is, the more attendees that we have, the more value that I think we're all going to get over the next 45 minutes to an hour or so. Like I said, this is episode 2 of Rocky Room, and the general framework for these episodes is that I'll welcome everybody, get everybody excited. I'll introduce my co-host, who is really the star of the show, and she will then take over. She'll go over the room that was submitted by Brenda Wilkinson this week, and then she'll give her design advice on that room. After that, we will open it up to doing a Q&A session with all of our attendees. Take that into consideration as we go forward. If you have any questions, just go ahead and jot them down and submit them via comment in this Facebook live feed. And when we open it up to questions, we will sift through those comments and find some golden nuggets and make sure to answer those questions that you had throughout the feed. This is an opportunity to get free design advice. So I hope that you take advantage of that opportunity. All right, before I introduce our co-host, I also want to encourage you to stay focused, right? You're just going to get a whole lot more out of this program if you're not distracted. If you're like me, you're prone to having about 100 different tabs open on your desktop computer, or maybe you're tempted to play Candy Crush or something like that on your mobile device. I'd encourage you just to put your mobile device in airplane mode and close out those tabs and just spend the next 45 minutes or an hour with us. I think you're going to get a lot more out of our time. All right, so I've alluded to Annilee a couple of times, and it's high time that I introduce our co-host. Annilee Waterman is from just outside of Dallas. Is that correct, Annilee?
That's right. Hello.
Great. So she's a Texas registered interior designer and an old house enthusiast. She lives just outside of Dallas, and she loves to restore and renovate old houses, designing historic reconstruction and adding character to new homes through architectural detail and decor. Inspired by beautifully restored and perfectly maintained historic places, she loves fixer-uppers and diamonds in the rough. In her 20 years of experience, she's been, and this is a really eclectic and very cool background. She's been an art teacher, which actually my mom was an art teacher as well, so that resonates with me. She's been a floral designer, a visual merchandiser, graphic designer, a movie set director. She's actually on IMDb, and for the last 15 years, she's been a professional interior designer. During this time, she's developed a deep appreciation for authenticity in design. She loves harmony, balance, and tradition layered with modern function, color, and personality. In addition to interiors, she designs new homes from the ground up in historical styles with modern floor plans. She's had a lifelong love of all things creative and artistic, clearly based on her professional experiences that I've already mentioned. Her passion for vintage started in college when she discovered her first vintage clothing shop, and soon discovered antique architecture and furnishings while working on her first movie, which was set in the 1920s. When she's not designing houses, you can find Annilee fixing up her own vintage Cape Cod cottage, say that 5 times fast, or shopping at vintage shops and antique markets, or visiting historic places. She is she's received her interior design degree from Texas State University in San Marcos, fine arts degree from the University of Texas at Austin, hook 'em horns, and she's on the Texas Board of Architectural Examiners since 2007. So, wow, I mean, that is an incredible bio. So happy to have you this evening, Annilee, and it's going to be no surprise who the designer is here. I've already given it away based on that introduction, but just take a look at my backdrop versus Annalee's backdrop. It'll be very easy to figure out who the designer is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass the baton over to Annilee. I am going to share my screen, and we will be off to the races. And I just encourage everybody to give us some likes, give us some hearts, and feel free to invite your friends as we go forward.
Thank you for that introduction, Matt. That was making me blush a little bit. Hearing it all read back to me like that.
Very welcome.
All right.
All right, so I should be sharing my screen now. Please, guys who are watching, let me know if you're unable to see my screen. And I will advance. And Annilee, it might make sense for you to, because there is a delay in the Facebook Live, it might make sense for you to look at my Zoom feed so that you're not dependent on the lag. Because there's a 20-second lag between what I'll share locally between us and what will be live on Facebook.
Okay, right on, I've got it.
Cool.
All right. So thank you, Matt, again for that introduction. And I'm very excited to be here. I was very excited when I got Matt's message inviting me on. So, and looks like we've got a few people in, and that's very exciting. So hello, everyone that's here. And hello, Brenda. So I'm so excited to show you what I've come up with for your room. So I'm going to kind of walk through this kind of as the process of doing e-design. So from step one through the final design. So the first thing is, I guess on the next slide, Matt, we've got the information that Brenda sent over. So she's got her living room, and she sent me the dimensions, and she likes the rustic style. And there's some things that she really likes about the room, and you'll see that when we see the pictures. It's got a lot of natural light. She's got a great fireplace and high ceilings. And here in a sec, when we look at the pictures, I'll point out all the great things about the room. So the main problem that she's having is she says it has no shape. And so I chatted with her about what does that mean? And she's having a hard time figuring out how to arrange the furniture. And we'll see when we look at the room what the problem is with that. And she's got a budget of $3,000 to spend, which turns out to be pretty good because she's keeping her big pieces like her sofa. So she does like her furniture. We're just got to figure out how to make it all work. So she sent over that information. And so typically in the e-design process, we'll get the basic information, and then we're going to have some follow-up questions. So these are the questions that I sent to Brenda to follow up. Things that we need to know: how does the room? What are you doing in the room? Is this an open concept? Is it working with other rooms? Do you have kids and pets? Do you want to keep your stuff, or are we getting all new stuff? Do you have enough seating? Do you need more seating? Do you have too much seating? And I asked Brenda for clarification about what she meant by no shape. And she let me know that she was having a hard time arranging the furniture. So we'll need to, if you are keeping pieces, then I need to know how big they are, what are their sizes. What colors do you like? What colors do you hate? That's always important. Do you want to do things like paint or do wallpaper? Do you need window treatments? Do you like lots of stuff or a little bit of stuff? And I asked her to send me some more pictures. And then we always need some sort of inspiration to start. We used to use pictures out of magazines. Now we use Pinterest. And I know that on Stucco, there's a platform we can share pictures to back and forth as well. So Brenda very nicely answered all these questions for me to help me out. And so I got a really much better idea about what she likes. And hopefully I've reflected that in her design plan. So if we want to look at what her room looks like, so here we go. So this room has a lot going on, a lot of great stuff going on in it. She's got this great wrought iron and the brickwork and some stone and this beautiful fireplace. And she's got some wallpaper back there in the hallway, wall of windows that goes all the way up through the second floor. And maybe Matt, do we want to look at the next couple since we didn't get all there? These beautiful French doors that lead over to the dining room. And so what you can see in this room and why I believe Brenda had trouble and why the room has no shape is because there is not one single solid wall defining this room. Every single way that you turn in this room has something going on. So like on this side, we've got the entrance to the dining room and the French doors. We've got the wall that has the stairs, and it also has entries to hallways on either side of the stairs. We've got the fireplace wall. We've got the window wall. So there's no actual solid wall anywhere in this room. And it's very much a pass through where you're going from the stairs to the dining room or from the hallway to the stairs. There's lots of walkways that are happening here. So it's a challenge. This is a very challenging space to lay out. And in Brenda's pictures, she has tried, you can see in all the pictures, the furniture is arranged in a different way. She's tried. She's really worked hard to figure out how to get this furniture to flow in this room. So she's made a big effort, which is fantastic. But it's a challenge. It's a challenging room. And so that leads me to the way I always start with any of these plans after we kind of get all of our basic information figured out is I start with a space plan and plan it out on paper and see what is going to work, where are our walkways and pathways, and what have we got going on in this room from a bird's eye view and a technical standpoint.
Yeah, Annilee, I'm just going to jump in 1 second and say, because I happen to know this, I talked to Brenda a little bit offline before we went live here, and I believe that she recently purchased this home. I don't know if it was a new build or not. Brenda, maybe you can mention it in the comments, but they recently purchased this home. And so it's a beautiful space, as you mentioned. I mean, we've got really high ceilings, got some nice pieces of furniture here. But you're not alone, Brenda. This happens all of the time. People, even with new homes, it's just an intimidating blank canvas. Although it's a beautiful canvas, it's intimidating. And so for those of you who are watching, Brenda's experience is maybe somewhat relatable to an experience that you're going through. So it's, despite it being an incredible home and brand new, that doesn't mean that you're not without challenges, right, from a design standpoint. So I'll pass it back to you, but just wanted to let Brenda know that she's not alone here, and neither are those who are watching.
No, Matt, that is an excellent point, because I get this question all the time. People move to a new home. It might be a new home. It might be a new to them home. But they've got all of their furniture and everything fits perfectly in the home that they're in now. And they you just think, well, I love my furniture and my things, and it's moving along with me, and I love my new home, and it's all going to go in there. And then you put it in, and just the slightest differences, and nothing fits, and nothing works, and you have to figure out a completely different. It happens all the time, and it's a very common frustration for people. So yes, Brenda, you're not alone. So so here's what, with her current furniture, and you can see there's no real wall space anywhere. Everywhere you walk, from a hall to the stairs, from a hall to the dining room, and then there's the windows and the fireplace. There's no real defined living room space here. And then also, she's got a lot of furniture, and we talked about how much seating she has, and she does say she probably does have too much seating, which is okay, but she has another room in the house where we can kind of rearrange some things. So that's the good thing. So this is kind of what we've got going on now, and this is what I am suggesting. I am suggesting we keep the 3-seater sofa that she's got in there, and keep her bench, and we rearrange the furniture to lighten up the space a little bit, because it is a lot of, we need that flow coming around. So I'm suggesting switching out the love seat and the bulky chair for 2 smaller chairs and a larger rug. So when you have a space that is like this, that is very difficult to define, a rug is a really good way to help create that space. And she did have a rug in there, but we need a bigger one to help anchor all of those pieces of furniture and make it into its own space. So maybe Matt, if we want, can we pop back up to like slide 10, and we see the furniture? So you can see, looking back at this picture, it's all very bulky, and it's a little bit too much, which is why she was having some trouble figuring out the best arrangement for it, because we've got a little bit too much into that space. So my suggestion is to just lighten it up slightly and get a little more airflow around those pieces, and that will help that feeling a little bit better. That'll help it feel better in there. But her pieces are lovely, and she wants to keep the sofa. So I'm definitely suggesting we keep that sofa, and that bench is great. So definitely suggesting we keep that bench. So you can see there's a 3-seater sofa, and then she has the smaller love seat and the chair that matches. So that's from the technical point of view. And from the style point of view, she, which we'll show in a minute, but she wants a more rustic feel. And I'm getting that from the architecture as well, with all of the stone and the brick and the wrought iron. It really will play well to that a little bit more rustic feeling. But the furniture she has now is very clean lined and modern. But we can make all of that work together really nicely. Let's see. From there, the next step that I do is I take her $3,000 budget, and I allocate that out. So I got my space plan. I figured out what kind of pieces I need. And this starts out kind of rough. And now this is where I landed in the end, but this kind of works through, and we plug in some numbers. So we can come back to this after we look at the pieces as well. But I got her, she wanted to spend about $3,000. And so I've got it about $2,400 right now. And I like to keep it under, so we have a little bit of wiggle room. And if we want to switch pieces out or do something different, and then if there's a surprise or we need something extra, we've got a little bit of wiggle room. But I always take my space plan and I list out all the things into the budget, And then I start with kind of numbers based on what I know from buying things in the past and build up an allocated budget. And then I know what I can shop for from there. And so that's how we stay and make sure we stay in your budget. And that's how we can work with any type of budget really for an e-design. So you don't have to have tons and tons of money to spend on interior design. I know a lot of people get intimidated thinking they've got to spend a lot of money, but if you understand your budget and what you need, then we can break it down and figure out what's going to work best for you. So you can see we fit quite a bit of stuff in her $3,000 budget. So here is some inspiration that I came up with. Brenda was open. She did not show me these pictures. These are what I came up with. She was open-minded about it, which is fun. So based on the furniture she wants to keep, those sofas that are kind of modern, I found these inspiration pieces that mix that have some modern with that little bit of rustic and a little bit more. If you saw her pillows in her picture, she's got some velvet, she's got some sequins. So it's not quite rustic glam, but it's a little bit more sophisticated than country rustic. So that's kind of where I was trying to go with it. And the colors that she said she liked velvety colors, which I love that way of talking about color, because that makes it feel, to me, that feels rich and soft, and maybe some soft jewel tones and colors. And in her living room now, she's got some dark green velvet pillows and some mustardy yellow throw blanket. So I based the style on kind of going in this direction and using the colors and the inspiration that she has there and kind of working off of that. So if Matt, you want to show the design that I came up with, there it is. So here is what we came up with. So you can see that there's her sofa that she has with her green pillow and her sequin pillow. And then that is her bench with the mustard yellow cover. And she's got a yellow throw over it. And so if you remember from the space plan, I pulled in a bigger rug. And I really like these. They're new rugs, but they look like a vintage kind of aged Persian style rug, and they play very nicely to that rustic look. And I'm suggesting that she pulls in some chairs that do not match the sofa. Because when we have all the pieces that match from the same set, it makes it gives you a very formal feeling. When everything is the same everywhere, it's very formal. So to get to a more rustic look, we want to mix things up just a little bit more, and that will give us that more casual feeling. But her place is modern, so we do have some things that are coordinating, and everything is coordinating. We have something that matches. We have 2 matching end tables, and then 1 different end table, and then the chairs match, but they're different than the sofa, but they coordinate to the sofa. And they have a nice soft pattern on them that pull in some of the, well, I really worked from those pillows that she has. She has the green in that pillow, that's the velvety. So I pulled from that and started with the rug and trying to bring in those velvet colors that she wanted. So I found the velvet striped pillows that have the same yellow as her bench. And also bring in the blue and the green from the other pillow. And then for the coffee table, I am suggesting a cocktail ottoman, which is a really versatile piece. that can be used for seating or as a table. You can put a tray on it and it can be a table or it can be seating. So when you don't have guests, it can be a table and look beautiful. And when you do have guests or the kids want to use it, it's just a really versatile piece. And it softens the room a bit. So we don't have all hard surfaces for all of our tables. And I've added, like I said, the striped pillows, and then there's 2 velvet pillows on the chairs. And I added in a fur blanket for some texture to get the rustic feeling look that she suggested. We want to mix textures. So mix and layer in different textures, and we've got some color mix going on, but it's those textures that are going to really give you that feeling. So you can see in the little end table, it's got a slightly distressed texture to it. And then a small table that's between the chairs has some distressed metal, and it kind of looks like metal banding on the barrel. And then it's mixed with a little bit more formal on the ottoman, which calls back to the clean modern lines of the sofa. And then I added some accessories, and you can see in the picture on the right with the fireplace, I placed them on that picture so you could get an idea, Brenda, of how I kind of imagined those. I know you had the palm tree in one corner there, so I added a couple of more plants, and those are faux, but you could have real ones if you have a green thumb. I don't know that palm is real or faux, but these are faux, so you don't have to worry about taking care of them.
What type of faux plants are these? Do you happen to know, Annilee?
Yes, those are fiddle leaf figs.
Okay.
And they are one of my favorite. They're beautifully architectural plants, and if you're a green thumb type person and you can have a real one, they're amazing. They grow really tall and architectural, and they're really beautiful plants. And so go ahead.
I actually have a fiddle leaf fig over my left shoulder here. And
you do, I see it.
Guys, if I can keep this thing alive, then so can you. And it gives you an idea of how much I still have to learn about this space, that I had to ask Annilee what type of plants these are, and I happen to have the exact same plant about 3 feet from me. So I've got a little work to do, but these look a little bit smaller than what I've got cooking on this end, and they really are beautiful plants. And the real ones, not the faux ones, are surprisingly easy to take care of.
They are, and they're really beautiful. I try to, when I do presentations for clients, I always specify it as a faux because not everybody likes to take care of them. But if we switch it out for a real plant, then that's just as great. These 2 that I've got here are meant to be like a cutting in a glass vase with water. So they're a little bit of a different look than a potted plant, but it's the same idea. I just thought about bringing in a little bit more greenery to that side. And because the way the mantle's very high and it's not huge, and then there's that brickwork up there and the stone behind it. So I don't really want to suggest hanging any big pieces of art or anything on there. So what you're seeing there is just a wrapped canvas that can sit and just lean. And it's got like a birchwood tree motif going on. And then there's a little low horizontal sculpture with some birds, and they're kind of a distressed metal again. And then just some greenery, again, the moss, just to tie in a little bit more of that rustic feeling. And then the carved wood piece to sit with the candles. She's already got some pieces down on around. She's got some candle holders and and candles and a couple of other pieces. And I think all of those were great. So I just added in a couple of other pieces to kind of add, like I said, some more texture to the room. And she's got all that great wrought iron and then the wallpaper. And then the only suggestion that I'm making to what she's got there on the wall is she has the mirror there, and I'm just suggesting you hang it just a tad bit higher. So I fixed it in the picture and hung it so you could see how it looked hanging just about to the top of that door frame. She's got it hanging a little bit lower than that currently. You can see in the other picture. And one other note, the fur blanket it's a faux fur. It's not a real fur.
So this is a vegan or vegetarian friendly design, is what you're
Yes. Yes, only beautiful faux fur. Don't worry. So that when I put together a design, I typically pull several ideas, several different chairs, several different tables, and narrow it down from the millions of options that you have out there. And I narrow it down to a few. So what I have is the board that I put together that I feel like are really great choices. And then I'll also have variations and options for you. And I have currently all of these are in a Pinterest board, and it's live on Pinterest right now. You could go and check it out. And there's other chairs and other ottomans and other tables and other options for the other items. So if there's something you want to see how something different would look or another idea, then those are there for you to look at.
And we'll include a link to this Pinterest board, it appears, in the replay on YouTube. We'll post it there, and we'll have a link out to these resources that are referenced throughout the presentation. So if you're watching this on YouTube, then this is like magic. It's right in the description, right below this.
Right. So essentially, we just walked through the e-design process through Brenda's room. But I thought I would add in the list here just to go over so that if anybody's interested and wondering what e-design is all about, it's a super approachable and down-to-earth way to get help with your space. Many people I know feel intimidated to have a designer come into their home, or that it's going to be too expensive, or a variety of reasons, but it's really easy. You just purchase your package, and then we go over the questions. You tell us about your room and answer questions back and forth, and send in pictures and measurements of your room, and we go over our inspiration pictures, and I pull together the design and the Pinterest board. And when we work together, we work through all of these steps together. So it's not like you just give it to me and then I give you the design. That's kind of what's happening tonight, because we're doing this presentation, but if we work through all these steps together and work towards your final design. And then at the end, you get a design board very similar to the one I presented here, and you get your Pinterest board and all of your links and your shopping links to purchase all of your items, and a floor plan and instructions, kind of like I went over, let's hang that mirror a little bit higher and place the artwork on the mantle, those kinds of things, if there's any other instructions. And it's really straightforward and easy. So I hope any of you that are needing a space designed, I'd encourage you to get on Stucco and find a designer that fits your style and get your room done.
Great, thanks so much. And I actually pinned a comment here in the Facebook Live comment section for those who are watching. And there's a how it works page on eDesign. So that also gives a nice summary of the eDesign process and the different options that are available to you in terms of the different pricing options and the level of personalized service that you might be seeking. And so take a look at that page as well, and do let us know if you have any questions or concerns. And with that said, I guess it's now time to open it up for any questions that you guys have. Is that fair to say, Annilee? Are we ready for that?
Yeah, sure thing. I'm just going to look here and see. I don't know if we got any during. Oh, thank you, Ross. Oh, good, Brenda. I'm glad you feel better. I don't know when these comments came through, so I'm just commenting.
Yeah, a lot of compliments. Melanie says, great design.
Oh, thank you.
Ross loves the design. Brenda said, thank you so much. She feels better already. A lot of love for the fiddle leaf figs. That was a hit.
Yeah, I love them.
And Ross, I believe you that yours is better than mine. So anyways, some great comments. If you guys have any questions to ask a designer, now is the time. This is some free high quality design advice. So feel free to fire away if any questions come to mind. It could be about what we've already seen. It could be about your own room. It could be about a particular piece of furniture that you're seeking. If there are any recommendations for where to find those pieces, really it's unlimited in terms of what would be appropriate to ask right now as it pertains to home design. So feel free to list your questions there. Ross actually just asked, what are your favorite places to shop for furniture and accessories online?
Hey, Ross, thanks for the question. So, quite honestly, it's really gotten very difficult to beat places like Wayfair. They have low end to high end, and I have had a really great experience with their shipping, and I've had stuff come in damaged and they just replace it and don't even ask me to send the damage back. They tell me to donate it to charity. Wow. I mean, I've had great experience working with them for my eDesign clients, and I use them. I can't say exclusively because they don't always have everything, but they have just about everything. They're really good. And then let's see. It kind of depends on style specific. If you have a certain style that you like, then I can probably give you a more specific recommendation. Like I personally love Anthropologie. Their stuff is really eclectic and global, and that's kind of the stuff that I like. I love to shop on their line. And if you like a little bit more modern, CB2 is a really good one. I really like them a lot. They have some really great kind of modern mid-century style pieces and that kind of thing. I don't know if that's helpful. And if you have a specific style, then maybe I can come up with a specific shop for you. And Matt, oh, I'm sorry, Matt. I see Brenda had a question about her room.
No problem. I just wanted to chime in real fast, and then we'll make sure that Brenda's question's answered. I wanted to say that when you do hire a designer within Stucco, part of that checkout process actually asks you for some of your favorite stores. So that'll really be beneficial to inform the designer. It's not only a good barometer of your style preference, but it's also a decent barometer of your budget and how much you're willing to spend. So that can also prompt it's also a nice list of different quality furniture retailers. So people have said that that's a good reminder of the different outlets that are available to them when shopping for furniture. But I love those recommendations, Annilee. Those are fantastic.
Great.
All right.
Thank you, Matt. And just to add to that, you're absolutely right. And when I meet with any sort of new client, I always like to ask them what their favorite shops are, because that tells me a lot about their shopping style and their taste, and the kind of service that they're looking for. And so talking about shops is a really good way to get to know each other.
Unless they list Goodwill as their favorite shop. In that case, it might be that might be some challenging.
I will say, however, that being a thrifter and an antiquer myself,
Yep.
that I could get along with somebody that says Goodwill is their favorite shop, because I can go and poke around and find treasures and stuff all the time, anytime you want me to. So, we can't do everything there, but I love, to go down to Round Top and dig through all of the junk and all that stuff. So to me, that's fun.
Yeah, a lot of the designers I've talked to, stucco designers and otherwise, they have talked about how they really enjoy finding things on Etsy too, right? So there's a little bit more risk in terms of pursuing a more unique item, because you don't know what the return policy is going to be. If it gets damaged, then can you even find another one, right? But I think Etsy is fantastic, and sites similar to that. I mean, you're going to get a very unique product, even the unique finds at an antique, like a local antique dealer. You just can't beat that character of those one, unique pieces. So
I agree. I agree 100%. And finding those unique pieces brings so much personality into your space. If everything is new, it can start to feel a little bit cold. And with e-design, it is more challenging, definitely. And there's great sites like Cherish and One Kings Lane, and a couple of others that aren't coming to mind, that's what they specialize in. And they have local vendors that it's kind of like an antique mall online, where they have their individual vendors and they post their pictures, and it's all antiques, but everything is a one-of-a-kind piece. So I could say, put it into your design board, but by the time we order it next week, it might be gone and there's not another one. So it's always risky, and we have to kind of work with it. And sometimes we kind of find a piece that is our inspiration, and then we say, okay, we're just going to leave that spot for now, and then over the next few months we're going to go to antique shops, and we'll wait until we find that perfect piece, and we'll just know that it has its home when we find it.
Right.
So, but I love working with antiques and vintage stuff, as you can probably see behind me, my old French chair. And so I do personally, I do auctions a lot too. So I love that. But let me answer Brenda's question, because I know she had it. She asked if her wallpaper was okay in that room. And I just want to say absolutely 100% yes. Because I love wallpaper, and it was metallic, which is beautiful. At least that's what I could tell. Brenda, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that wallpaper was great. And that's the perfect way to use wallpaper, is in a accent area like that, in which it looks to be a hallway possibly right there. So it's just a little pop of shiny over there and texture. And I thought it was great. I was really thrilled to see that wallpaper there. People sometimes are afraid to use wallpaper, and it goes in and out of trendy and fashion. But it's always around. Even when people say wallpaper's out, it's in. There's wallpaper everywhere. There's always new designs and patterns. And if you use it in a small area like that, then, in a few years when you're tired of it, it's easy enough to change it out, because it's not your whole house. So yes, Brenda, I love the wallpaper.
All right, and should we go to a couple of the questions that were asked prior to the Facebook Live, Annilee? Is that okay?
Sure. I've invited all of my friends that ask these questions, but I don't know if they're on. But they can always catch the replay. So I posted up on my page to all of my friends, you know, if anybody had any questions that they would like to hear me talk about. And I got quite a few questions. I was very excited. But I probably can't, I did mention to them, I probably won't be able to get to all of them tonight, but I thought I would pick some that I know are really relatable. And so Julie asked me about crown molding, if the ceilings need to be a certain height. So my answer is no, you do not need high ceilings to have crown molding. And as a matter of fact, they work really, really well if you have 8-foot ceilings, because that detail, bringing a detail up high, makes your room feel higher. It makes the room feel taller by bringing some interest up to the very top. So a crown molding is great in any height of ceiling, and it's especially good for lower ceilings because, like I said, it'll make your room feel taller. So don't be afraid to try it if you don't have high ceilings. And ideas for window treatments, that's going to be very specific to the situation. So Julie, we can work on that one together. So let's see. Brenda, another Brenda Deneau here, she asked about trends. And she says, it seems like all houses are the same, and what are some trends right now that I would recommend? So houses looking the same is a whole topic that I could go on and on and on about. The builders, they find what works and they get on what's current, and they just do it. And they do all start to look the same. But that's where bringing in your personal style in your furnishings makes such a difference. And so with the trends, I like to compare it to our jewelry, ladies and gentlemen. So, you know, I will wear some trendy earrings and my trendy costume ring, or maybe a trendy hair clip, something like that, even your clothes, because those are easy to change out. They change out with the seasons. It's not a huge investment necessarily. But my pieces that I use all the time, like my jeans, I'm not going to do trendy because I know what works for me and what looks good on me, and those are an investment piece that I'm going to have. And so in your home, it's kind of the same way. Your big pieces that you use all the time, that are your anchor pieces in your house, like your anchor pieces in your wardrobe, those you don't worry about the trends. Those you need to go with what is going to make you happy and what is going to be a good investment for you. And then you go trendy with your small items, like your throw pillows, and maybe you change out your curtains, or you do a little pop of a small area of a wallpaper, or you change out your small bits of artwork, like in Brenda's room. You change out the bits that are on the mantle. So that's where you play with the trends, and then you can just go for whatever strikes you. Go out, you're at Pier 1 or whatever, you get the cute Halloween stuff that's trendy this year, and you change it out seasonally. And you don't do that with your big pieces that are your big investment pieces, your big upholstery pieces, or if you're building a home, your hard surfaces and your flooring and your granite. You go with what is good for the house and what's going to make you happy and be a good investment for you. And then on the trends, you do the small stuff like your trendy earrings. So what do you think? What next, Matt?
Well, I mean, I think that it looks like we've addressed all of the questions inside the Facebook Live comment section. So I think now would be a great time to actually wrap up, if that's okay with you. We're coming up on the hour. So, and is there anything that you would like to specifically address outside of what we've already discussed and some of the questions that we've answered?
No, I think we've covered it all. Thank you, Matt, for inviting me on and having me be part of your group today. This was really fun for me. And it's exciting to get the word out more about e-design and those of us designers that offer it. And I hope people are excited about it.
Yeah, you were fantastic. I mean, this design was incredible. I think it hit the mark, certainly based on Brenda's reaction to it and the other viewers. So guys, if you're interested in working with Annilee, her profile can be found on Stuccco. It's stuccco.com/Annilee. If I'm not mistaken, that's 2 N's and 2 E's.
With an I in the middle.
With an I in the middle. Yeah, I feel like I'm playing Wheel of Fortune now. But take a look at her profile. She's got some amazing designs up there. At the very least, it's a good source of design inspiration. If you missed last week's episode, it's available on YouTube. We're posting all of these episodes up for those who would like to rewatch or catch up. Next week's episode, I'm really excited about. We're going to have Karen Minches come back, and the homeowner is going to be the Foxes out of Virginia. They're going to submit their room, and we'll have just some great content that we'll be able to provide you then. Look for that. That'll be next Wednesday at the same time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. And I think that's really everything. Thank you again. We're slowly but surely increasing our viewership. Please, please, please feel free to ask any questions inside the Interior Secrets Facebook group. It's a great way to share your current projects, maybe talk about projects you're thinking about, getting some design advice, getting some design inspiration. So that's 24 hours a day. You can tap into that Facebook group and get some value out of your fellow members and also some professional interior designers. So take advantage of that. Thank you so much for attending. Thank you so much, Annilee, for coming and hitting a grand slam over this last hour or so. And I very much look forward to seeing you guys next time on Rock Your Room.
Bye, thank you.
All right, bye-bye.